You said that you thought fear was an essential quality for an entrepreneur.
No, fear is inside each and every one of us. So it comes. It's a natural thing that comes from each and every human being to protect himself.
Dubai is often thought of as a city of luxury, where those with discerning and expensive tastes are catered to. But Dubai is also a place that appreciates a good deal. Our guest today capitalized on the Emirates' appetite for smart savings. After moving to Dubai for work into the year 2000, Toufic Kreidah pivoted and brought his concept, Brands for Less, to the city, selling fashionable brands at budget prices. The company has since grown into the BFL Group, an organization with operations all over the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Europe. The For Less empire has expanded to cover other verticals, including toys for less, homes for less, and luxury for less, as well as acquiring international names like Mumoso and Tchibo. In August of 2024, Brands for Less sold a 35% stake to the US-based TJX Companies for $360 million, valuing the off-price retailer at an impressive $1.2 billion. Hello and welcome to Homegrown DXB, the show taking you inside the lives of the people changing yours right here in Dubai. I'm your host, Omar Butti. And I'm very privileged to have with me today my guest, Toufic Kreidah from Brands for Less, certainly a longtime resident of Dubai, an institution here. It's such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Amar, for hosting.
Thank you for being here. So I'm very excited to go into the whole history of Brands for Less with you, how it all started, where the idea came from, and obviously how it's grown to be this massive global institution that it is today. So first of all, just tell me about where did the idea come from?
The idea came from, we saw this idea in the United States on one of our visits there. And on the spot, we felt that this type of business is missing back in our part of the world.
And what kind of businesses did you see in the U.S.?
We just saw at that time a company called Filene's Basement, which operated from Boston, which is, it's the same concept, a treasure hunt experience, off-price channel. And, until today, there are very few players internationally for the off-price. And we were lucky to be the first company to introduce this type of business to this part of the world.
So what were the early days like? So I know you launched initially in 1996 in Lebanon. How did that first, iteration of Brands for Less come together?
Brands for Less is a company between two best friends. We started back in 1996 in a car park underground with $10,000. It was a side business that we started because we had a lack of capital at that time. After we showed the idea in the United States through one of our visits, we decided to go for it. We started this business, and our focus was, because due to the lack of social media and technology at that time in 1996, so we had to really count on the word of mouth. And in Lebanon, it was one of the strongest tools to be used was the word of mouth, through families, extended friends, etc.
And so were you going door to door? Were you going to all your friends and family and telling them to spread the word?
Yes, it is. It was not door to door, rather than going to friends and families, and everyone was recommending to their family members and to their friends.
And what was the first reaction? Because as you said, it was an unfamiliar concept at the time. Did people think it was good? Or were they concerned that maybe the goods weren't real? Or did you have any doubt at that time?
No, again, because of Lebanese diaspora that's been all around the world, and you have a very big community that lives in the United States. So the concept as an idea, or the players in this field, were already well known to the people. So, and what helped us a lot was, the Brands for Less name that, tells the story what we are doing.
So when you then moved to Dubai in 2000, you came here, I think, first for work, but then you decided to continue your entrepreneurial sort of dream here.
Yes.
What made you move first in 2000, and then what made you decide that, yes, this is the right place to launch Brands for Less as a major business?
First time I came to the UAE was back in 1992. And I landed here, my first job. I lived here till 1996. whereby I was offered from a company from the UAE to go with them as a general manager to their Lebanese operation. So I went there, we started the business on the side, and then in year 2000, I was moved back to the UAE. All what I had to do is go to the HSBC, take a personal loan of 150,000 dirham, which is equivalent of $40,000, put my resignation next day, go and rent my first store.
And then, so what happened after that? You opened the store. I imagine it wasn't as easy as, just opening the store, importing the goods. There must have been a lot of things that went into that first attempt.
Yeah, of course. The beginning was extremely difficult. I had to do everything from cashiering to cleaning the store to going to the warehouse, picking up the merchandise. Me and Yasser used to offload the container ourselves because we couldn't afford to hire workers to offload the container. So we did everything from scratch. And, we were in the right place at the right time. Being in Dubai at that time was the perfect match for us. And this really what helped us grow our business.
And so why was Dubai the perfect match at that time?
It was a city that being just born in terms of being a major player on the international scene. And Dubai has been always encouraging investment, easing difficulties for investors, no taxes, no custom duties, free zones, logistics, you name it, from A to Z. So we found the right atmosphere for us to be able to grow our business.
Who came up with the name Brands for Less?
It's actually, I was between brands to something, and finally my partner Yasser, he said, why don't we call it Brands for Less? And that's how it happened.
And you just knew right away that was the right name?
It's the perfect name. It tells the story. You don't need to explain to people what you do. It's just there.
I mean, it's really stuck around, right? Because you have so many brands for this for less, toys for less, homes for less, luxury for less. I guess we'll go back to the beginning, but I'm curious to talk about that expansion as well. So when did all these ideas come in terms of building on the initial brands for less concept and then expanding to these other verticals?
For us, every time we found that there is a need in terms of, let's say, a certain category that needs a little bit more focus, whereby we can really direct our businesses and our efforts towards a certain group of customers, we went and we tried a new concept. And this idea is always there. We will always look into new ideas. We will always look, but within the same value proposition, whereby you are getting a branded item for discounted prices. So we went for the Toys for Less, for example, was an idea because it came because of a simple reason. I'm a father of 4. My kids, they come every week asking to go and buy gifts for friends that sometimes they don't even know their names. And the price point that is there for the toys is extremely high. Let's say in the range of 250 or 300 dirhams. We're talking about branded toys. And I said, if we can really offer the same branded toys for discounted prices, we'll be solving a problem. So always we have to look into, and this is the whole idea behind any business or any successful business, are you really solving a problem? If you are, just go ahead and do it. So this is how the whole idea started from there. And then, some customers started asking us, I would like to spend more if you get me a higher brand. Say, okay, let's establish the luxury for less. So the luxury for less are for people who are really looking for specific high-end brands and ready to pay more in terms of price per item. So we created the luxury for less for them.
So looking at the Dubai, environment when you first launched the concept, and you mentioned that in Lebanon there was awareness of this type of sort of business, but I think here it was certainly something quite new, and I imagine there was some maybe stigma around the idea of like a discount shop, right? How did you address that early on when you were trying to message the business, when you launched the business, when you're trying to get people to come and see that you're not going to get a lesser product, it's just the brands are offered to you for a discounted price, and that's sort of the model?
It was an uphill battle at the beginning, especially in the UAE, but we knew if you really are able to hit it in Dubai, you can succeed anywhere because the mix of all of these nationalities, and for you to be able to really attract these people into the store, the idea was, or the difficulty was, to attract the people to step into the store. Once they are inside, they go through the treasure hunt experience and they are automatically stuck, and you find them coming every day, and you find them going and visiting multi-stores in the same day. So the idea was to bring them in, and still at that time in year 2000, social media was not there. So we had to really go through, the word of mouth, which is also more difficult because you have different nationalities with different backgrounds. At that time, advertising was the most difficult thing that you would face. So we used to go and distribute flyers at the doors of the malls.
Tell me more about the marketing and advertising. I mean, we'll get to the social media because you are actually a personality of sorts now on social media and TikTok, which I definitely want to talk about. But, how did you get to that point? How did you go from, the distributing flyers to obviously the word of mouth as well as your primary driver to getting the name out there, getting the brand there, getting people, familiar and having that positive association with the yellow logo? What was the evolution in the marketing process and changing that awareness around it?
The evolution is you had to dissect, to study all the nationalities and all the income levels that are living in the UAE. And you had to go and really cater for each and different taste and different nationality and different income that, ranges from A to Z. And once you have them, each nationality or each customers from each nationality will become your ambassador through the word of mouth, going to their colleagues, going to their friends, going to their family members, and telling them about, this treasure hunt experience.
So, talking again, I guess, about the marketing, we'll go to current day, because something I think that's really interesting that you do, and it's been, I think, part of your identity and social media and part of the brand is, you feature very prominently in videos as part of the account and your own personal account. On TikTok, doing competitions, prizes, little games with people in the store. Is that something that you've always done informally and we just see it now through social media? Is it something that you started recently? And, what made you decide to become your own social media celebrity?
It started to be, it was not a decision to become a celebrity, rather than it was a suggestion from a friend of mine that I've done some business with. He came to me, said, listen, why don't we portray your character on the social media, on TikTok? And for me, this was like a shock, TikTok for me was for kids. I saw my kids going and doing TikToks. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I went, I did the first video, just introducing myself, saying who I am. And next day morning, 400,000 views. And then you start realizing that you have something in your hand that you can benefit from. You can communicate to the young audience. You can communicate to the Gen Zs. You can tell the story of your business. You can promote your business. You can tell them about the treasure hunt experience. At the same time, with time, you start changing the content and upgrading the content or moving with what trends more than what in terms of engagement.
So, I mean, you are actually in some ways...
I don't go at home and walk at home and asking riddles for my kids.
Oh, you don't? It's not something you do for fun?
No, I don't.
Do you enjoy riddles and puzzles yourself?
I enjoy it, yes.
Okay, but your kids are not fans?
They are fans, but that's not what I do for a living. Like, don't expect me to do the same at home, for sure.
I mean, you have been, as a company, I think, quite forward-looking when it comes to the adoption of technology and things of this nature. I believe you were, I think, the first e-commerce company in Jebel Ali Free Zone.
In Jebel Ali Free Zone, yes.
What was that like again when you were setting up? What made you decide to make that pivot in, I think, 2013, right?
We started it because, everyone was going digital. And we said, we have to, if you do not follow what is required in the market, you start going backwards. So if you don't move forward, you start going backwards. You cannot stay where you are. And at the end of the day, digital was taking over in many places all around the world. So we knew that digital is something that we cannot run away from. We have to face it, and we have to succeed in it. So we started putting a lot of effort on the digital, and we launched our website, which is thebrandsforless.com. And we had a very nice traction into the site. And with time, of course, when COVID hit, like everyone else, we really we went to speed our efforts in terms of more concentration on the digital. And today I think today we are in by visits, we are the #1 of fashion website in the UAE.
Well, that's certainly an impressive milestone. One thing you've talked about, I think is important to the sort of budget shopping experience, to the Brands for Less experience, is the idea of a treasure hunt, right? That's kind of why you get your customers to keep coming back. The idea of something discovery and the joy that comes with that discovery. How do you translate that to the online space?
We try to copy the same experience into the online, whereby every day, if you go and visit our site, you will find yourself visiting the site. And if you become addicted to the treasure hunt experience, you'll find yourself visiting the site on a daily basis. And sometimes, many times during the day, because we keep on infusing new product the whole day. Every day we have new products hitting because we don't have depth, we have more of variety. So every, let's say, couple of hours, you will go and you'll find new items coming and popping on the site. That's what keeps you coming and visiting again and again. And the more you visit, the more the probability you're going to buy.
That makes sense. I mean, so that's obviously the online experience. And taking a step back, then looking at the store itself, and this is something I imagine you did from the very first store that you set up, is you set it up in a certain way, right, where you have that experience, that discovery. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works from like maybe a logistical perspective, organizational perspective? How do you actually set up the store to create those treasure hunting moments?
The whole concept is treasure hunt. With the way that we buy the item, we go and we buy variety, we don't buy depth. And we make sure that only certain number of pieces goes to the stores, not exceeding X amount of pieces, whereby the shelves are turning continuously, and you're always roaming around the store and you're finding new items. So the whole concept is based on, it's an off-price concept. We don't buy in bulk, we don't buy in quantities per SKU, rather than we buy more of variety. So we buy variety, we sell variety, and we offer variety.
And then how do you then decide what items to buy? Because if you're buying wide, right, I imagine there are items that perform very, very well, and then items that don't perform as well. Is it something where you look at previous data? Is it intuition-led? How do you decide, the wide range, as you said, to purchase or to stock?
Of course, it's all of the above. You have to always monitor what's trending. And we have very solid team of buyers that are always on the look all around the world. We have our buying offices spread into different countries. We have a buying office in the States. We have 2 buying offices in Europe. We have a buying office in Hong Kong. So we're always looking and following the trends, what's happening. At the same time, we know what are the brands that are in demand. We go and make deals, and the most important thing is to reach the price point. For us, the most important thing is the price point, whereby the item will come, will cover our expenses, will cover our acceptable profit, and still to be able to save money on the end consumer. Because we promise the end consumer to save between 60 and 80% on the original retail price.
So the BFL Group, and we talked a little bit about the For Less line, right? The toys, the home brands, obviously. But you also have other acquisitions like Mumoso, Tchibo. How do you decide, or what do you look for, I guess, in companies when you're looking for those types of acquisitions? Because they also tend to be in the same sort of discount space, right?
Any item that will add value in terms of the price-quality ratio, it suits us as a group, as a retail offering for the customers. Mumoso was one of them. Mumucho was one of them. Tchibo was one of them. So we're always on the look for the right product, that the price quality ratio really suits our product offering that we can add to the portfolio that we have.
And how did those specific negotiations or those deals come together? Was it just lucky chance? Did you meet them through your buyers?
You have to keep on moving. You have to keep on traveling. You have to always going and exploring what is trending, what's happening, what new stores, what new concepts. So we have our people, and I'm one of them. I'm always traveling, looking, going to the markets. Every time I travel to a country, I just head directly to the mall to see what new trends are there, what new stores, what new brands, what are the prices. I'm always checking prices. Wherever I go, it became like a habit. Like wherever I go, I'm checking the price. So I want to see the price quality ratio. Does it suit us or it doesn't? If it suits us, I automatically go and just start talking to the company and trying to get this product to our stores.
Is that something that you've always found about yourself? Have you always enjoyed hunting for deals and
I always enjoyed negotiating. Like I like negotiations. Like in general, it's part of my character. So yes, I enjoy what I do. This is a sure thing.
Okay. But is this something when you were young you looked for deals? That was something that excited you?
When I was young, I had to look for these because I was a poor kid. So looking for these was a must.
Sure. I guess if you have that necessity, then obviously that's going to be built in there. Would you ever consider moving outside of the sort of budget space, the identity of the brand? Are there, in terms of acquisitions or other business projects?
Me and my partner, we believe a jack of all trades is a master of none. We are very focused people. We will continue doing what we are doing in the off-price space.
Okay, fair enough. I want to talk to you a little bit more broadly, because you talked a bit about you being someone who loves negotiating, right? About maybe like your principles or philosophies for business. Is there something overriding that you use to guide all of your decisions? A principle, any general, I guess, thoughts or advice that you've taken from other people that you'd like to share?
Of course, the way we do business from day one until today is we always look for growth of the company. We always look into reinvesting everything back into the business, and that's what created the opportunity for this company to be where it is today as a market leader for the off-price channel in this part of the world, and to be recognized and get the stamp of approval, from the biggest players in the world.
Well, speaking of a stamp of approval from the biggest players in the world, you recently had a very important milestone. TJX Companies, the owner of people like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, for those who know, acquired a 35% stake in your business, I think to the tune of, was it $360 million?
Yes.
Very, very impressive.
Thank you.
And I feel like that must have been quite validating, right? Because businesses like TJ Maxx and Marshalls are types of businesses that you were certainly aware of, or Filene's Basement, that you kind of built your business off of those types of ideas. And now they see there's such a value in you. How did that deal come about? And obviously, how do you feel about the whole thing?
When you reach a certain level, or your business reaches a certain size, you're always looking what is the next step. Especially, we grow all the time, and always in the mind of any investor is succession, the future, the children, the family. So you're always in this train of thoughts. So most of the people you see today, they're going into IPOing even their businesses. And today, both Dubai and Abu Dhabi became an amazing hub for IPOs. So we had to reach a point whereby to take the company to the next level, to assist the growth of this company, not only in the region, especially that we started looking into expanding our business beyond the GCC region towards the area in Southeast Asia. So we started lately the Singapore, we're starting now Malaysia. Having a support in terms of on all frontiers, in terms of either you're looking for capital or you're looking for a strategic partner. Our look was more towards a strategic partner, someone that would really assist us and help us with their expertise and their experience to really grow beyond our region. And it's very challenging going outside your area to a new area. So TJX was the perfect match for us when they approached us to acquire a percentage of our business, and we told them 35 would be acceptable for us, and it will give you enough involvement. And the negotiations took few months, and we closed the deal. So the support that will be given from them due to their experience, they've been doing this business from 1976. So you can imagine the know-how that they have that you will benefit from.
Absolutely. I mean, would you ever consider a full exit at any point? Is that something you've thought about?
Today, no. Tomorrow, nobody knows. Yes.
I mean, look, I know a lot of people like yourself, serial entrepreneurs, don't really look for retirement. But is that something that you ever aspire to?
I will never look into full exit in terms of retirement. Definitely not. If anything, future IPO, future, everything's on the table.
How do you then deal, I guess, with the stress? I mean, you don't seem like a very stressed person sitting here having a conversation with you, but no one knows. Obviously, I'm sure all the challenges that come with running a massive business, multiple businesses. There's a lot on your plate. What do you do to deal with stress? Is that something that you find is challenging? Has that changed over the years, obviously from early on in the business to today?
Yeah, I can, for sure, I can guarantee that the stress that I have today is negligible in terms of the stress. It's not only me and any business owner when you are starting the business. Today things are much more relaxed in terms of when you have a strong team that is assisting you into running the business, the day-to-day business. We have a very strong management team that we have cherry-picked from the industry with a very vast experience in retail, and really people that I can rely on. So stress today is at its lowest levels, but I engage myself more with sports, especially paddle. I'm a little bit of a paddle freak lately.
Do you compete?
I compete, yes.
I assume you're good.
It's more fun.
More fun.
I'm okay. I'm okay for my age. I'm okay.
I'm sure. Well, you obviously you said you like negotiation, you like competition, so I imagine you're doing quite well. On a similar vein, something I've heard you say before, which I thought was really interesting, was that you said that you thought fear was an essential quality for an entrepreneur, having fear. And a lot of people think of fear as a negative thing. So why do you feel that way?
No, fear is inside each and every one of us. And today, sometimes, or most of the time, fear will drive you to do better for you to protect yourself. So it's a natural thing that comes from each and every human being to protect himself. I've been through the fears because I was born in a country where civil war was there. Even on a family level, I had my challenges in terms of family. So fear was surrounding me, and I believe this fear will create someone who is a fighter out of you. And this was my case. Today, facing fear on each and every level, you have to face fear. I always try to recommend to young people to go and be entrepreneurs and to go and make their dream come true, because we live only one time. And at the end of the day, facing the fear, I think the highest level of fear is when you decide to open your business, the first day of business, when you're taking the most risk, when you're liable to banks with loans and with payments, and you're starting and you don't know if your idea is going to work or it's not going to work. So this is the highest level of fear that you're going to reach. People are going to face it who have dreamers, who want their dream to come true. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to be the owners of their own businesses. They have two options. Either they face it when they are young, when they have physically and mentally and emotionally, they are solid enough to face these fears, or they have to face it at a later age. And this is what happens with people when they somehow they lose the opportunity of moving or taking the step and find themselves stuck with employment, getting old, being always in fear of losing their jobs, how they're going to cover the bills, how they're going to pay tuitions for their kids. So, the fear is there. It's when you're going to take this step is the most important. I always advise people to take it at a younger age rather than getting stuck in employment, and then at that day, fear will become their everyday routine. And that's why, I'm sitting here in front of you. It's the opposite for me. Today is the least amount of stress that I have in my life.
And when did that change happen for you in your business? When did you get out of that period? Obviously you weren't sure if the idea was going to work. You had your loans, your obligations. When did you start to feel comfortable?
It took us, to be frank with you, in Dubai. We started in Beirut 96, in Dubai year 2000. I can say year 2004 was the year whereby we started seeing like things are going in the right direction, like big time in the right direction.
And what was the indicator?
The indicator was a product that we were lucky enough to get, which is Tchibo, that really instigated the whole journey at the beginning and made us so much famous in the UAE.
So looking, I guess, at Brands for Less going forward, the BFL Group. Obviously, you had the big deal with TJX. What are your future plans for expansion? You talked about Malaysia, Singapore. Do you have other plans for expansion?
Yeah, we are focusing now mainly on Southeast Asia, and there is a lot of countries on the map there. Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia. I can keep on counting countries after country. The journey is so much exciting for us. We're extremely excited to go to that part of the world. It's a white space for the off-price channel. We know how to do off-price channel. We are considered from the East in terms of geography. We're supported by number one international player, which is TJX. So I don't see any reason for us not to succeed.
Well, certainly you've proven that so far. For people who are hesitant, who have the fear, I guess, as you mentioned, but want to do something with it at a young age, what is your advice then to an entrepreneur today, whether they're in the retail space, whether they're in general, I have an idea, their dream. What are some core things that you would recommend?
It's very simple. If you really have an idea and you really believe in it, not you believe in it, you have to believe also to make sure or to prove that you are satisfying a need. There is a need, and there is not enough people satisfying this need. Or it's new, no one is satisfying this need. And you believe in it, take the step as soon as possible. Of course, I'm not saying go jump from university first day, second day, go open your business. Take 3, 4 years, 5 years, and this is the advice I give to my kids. Take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, work for other people, take some experience, but don't delay starting your own business. The sooner the better.
Thank you so much, Toufic, for being with us on the show. It was such a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And yeah, as you said, I imagine there's great things in your future, great success. How can there not be, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much.